Well, now we have some other information from Dr. Bob over here. By the way, some of you probably thought you were going to see somebody from Moat Marine, right? Everybody go, hey, where are they? Where is that Dr. whatever? And I unfortunately learned literally yesterday, late in the afternoon, that our speaker was not coming. And the Moat coordinator was very disappointed. She had understood that professional would call us or let us know if the availability had changed for that person. I think he was away on a conference meeting. So that's what happened. We had all this advanced great planning, but it happens that these things occur. And I'm very sorry because some of you may have come thinking that you were going to hear that person speak. So we hope that the show will be just as interesting, but on different topics, but indirectly related, right, to Turtle Beach, which is the next conversation. So we have some interesting news for everybody about how that project is proceeding right now. Dr. Bob, I'm letting you have the floor.
Well, there's been some changes in the Turtle Beach project, which is to put 4,600 dump trucks of sand on the beach down there in front of Turtle Beach, off about 1,000 feet of it. So what's changed? Number one, I think the county has really been listening to us since our December meeting. And they have applied for the 4th time to the FEMA for an extension of 1 year, so they don't have to do it this year. And they filed a formal application for that, and they actually sent Nancy Dieter and Rob Lewis to DC to lobby with them on it. Whether they approve it or not, nobody knows. And because they don't know, they've had to move forward with as if they have to get it done by June. So a couple things have happened. One is that they went out for bids for the construction. Their budget for the construction was about $3.5–4 million. They got the bids back, not on February the 15th like they had asked for, but March the 1st, yesterday. So this is late breaking news because they wanted to start March. So they were already behind schedule on what was already a very tight schedule. And I talked to the project manager on your behalf, and he said, you are correct in your statement. We are on a very tight schedule. The 2 bids, I'm not sure what they are. They're analyzing them, but nonetheless, they've scheduled a meeting next Tuesday with the Board of County Commissioners to approve signing the contract. The approval they're looking for is 85% more than the budget. Remember, I told you I don't think with the price of diesel, this is going to happen very easy. Well, instead of $4.1 million, the bids came in something in the order of $7.6 million. That's a lot of money. Hopefully FEMA will pay for 3/4 of that, and the county or the state might pay for the other quarter of it, but nobody knows for sure. So it's not going to start March 1st, obviously yesterday. They expect to start construction after spring break. I'm not sure what that means, but maybe they don't either yet. But sometime later in March, which only gives them about 5 weeks until turtle nesting season shows up. And the FDEP has put a ton of restrictions on them about the turtles. So it makes it very complicated if they're not done by May the 1st.
No, June the 1st.
May the 1st.
Done by May 1st, okay.
Done by May the 1st. They have 30 days then to clean it up, till it, and submit their bills to FEMA. So I asked them, did you get your permit? And I did that yesterday. They wrote back promptly and said, yes, we got the permit last Friday. The permit is 40 pages long and it's got a lot of restrictions in it. Not the least of which is they have to submit their detailed plans of where they're going to do the work And they have to have contracted for people to watch the nesting birds and watch the turtles. And they have to submit that to the FDEP 30 days before they start construction. Okay. I asked him, have you submitted those yet? No, we're working on it. So they're at least a month away. Okay. Even if the money was approved next Tuesday. The other thing that they're will have to do is they have to do a pre-construction survey to look for nesting shorebirds and look for turtle tracks, and they haven't started doing any of that. So they keep building hurdles, and we'll see what happens on this, but it's not moving forward at breakneck speed, and it's got a huge budget problem. And we appreciate everything that Mark Smith and the county staff has been doing to try to push this out in time. We'll see what happens. The permit was issued, as I said, last Friday. That permit becomes valid a week from Friday, so in about a week. And that happens only if nobody protests it or appeals it. So we'll see if anybody like me might protest that. And then you can ask for 30 days to hire a lawyer, and then you can ask for a hearing, and it starts getting expensive, but we'll see what happens. The permit's pretty imposing. And Curtis has got a lot of work to do, and we'll see what happens. I don't even know how much the bids are exactly. I just know what they're going to ask next Tuesday about. And if you'd like to come, it's item 23 on the agenda next Tuesday afternoon at the downtown Sarasota Council Chambers. And if you go, you'll at least see me there. And Mark will be there also. So we'll see what happens. They're in a box, but this box is just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And frankly, the county's asking the commission to approve over $8 million of money they don't have any guarantees on yet. So, it's a big layout from basically their honeypot of the tourist development tax. So we'll see what happens. Any questions? Yeah, John?
When you say you have the permit, you're talking about the DEP,
Yes.
and then I read somewhere that February 15th was the original bid
Yes.
date, and they only had one at that point.
They postponed it for some reason until March the 1st, and now they have two.
Okay, but as of February 15th, as far as you know, there wasn't one that had been submitted.
I don't know. They don't talk about
So
that.
they extended the February 15th to March 1st
Yes.
deadline, and now have 2 days.
Now they have two bids. And they're analyzing that. And, as of yesterday, when they got the bids in, they had put on the agenda for next Tuesday, a $7.1 million contract authorization. Well, maybe they'll change it when they analyze it more, or maybe FEMA will tell them
So
something.
at Tuesday's meeting, they're going to request 7.1 authorization.
Yes, and for the county administrator to be able to sign.
In Venice on Tuesday?
Oh.
It's at downtown, okay.
Yep,
It happens to be 7.709.
yeah, I was excluding the sunk costs of the engineering, but you're right. They've already spent $500,000 on engineering. But yeah, thanks, Mark. I'm sure you're right.
Block reading.
Yes,
I'd like to make a statement, if you don't mind.
as long as it's less than a minute.
It's not in a minute. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again with the same bad results. How many times has Turtle Beach been restored? Do you know, Bob?
Well, the last time it was restored was in 2016, and 5 months later,
No.
it washed away some of
How
it.
many times? I've been here for 28 years. How many times? 4 or 5 times it's been restored?
I don't know, you know,
I'm not an engineer.
yeah, I don't know.
I ran a business for 50 years, but I'm not an
Right.
engineer. Now, it seems to me you can't change Mother Nature. If the sand is moving south to Casey Key, the object should be to stop the sand from moving south. And a perfect example of that is the Venice jetty. They put the jetty up, the sand hits the jetty and it stops, which renourishes Turtle Beach. In the interim, don't acquire the sand from the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, which is volcanic and black. Try to take it out of Midnight Pass or the old Midnight Pass, which is the exact same sand that belongs to Turtle Beach. This way, you don't have to renourish Turtle Beach every 2 years. You've got Midnight Pass open. And you don't have to worry about it anymore, because Midnight Pass will stay open and it won't interfere with anybody's life. And everybody will be happy. This is ridiculous, renourishing Turtle Beach every 2 or 3 years. And it costs a lot of money.
Well, it's been 7 now, but I understand what you're saying.
For 7 years, 10 years, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not an engineer, but based upon history, Venice Jetty seems to work very well.
unless you're south of it where Venice Beach is, which it erodes. But, okay,
But we're talking about Siesta Key, we're not talking about Casey Key. They've got their own problems.
Yeah.
We have to take care of our problems first.
well, all of those are good points.
And that's all I'm gonna say. Thank you.
Thank you for your statement. Okay, yeah, John,
Bob, it's undetermined if that potential just shy of $4 million swing, how it would be divided up between FEMA, county, state. It's undetermined, right?
the original appropriation
Was 15, 20?
was 75% from FEMA. And the rest of it, state or local, and the county intended to apply half of that 25% or 12.5
Right.
from the state beach renourishment fund, which when I asked them, they said they would do after the project was done. So,
So how that shakes out is undetermined though, correct? It's not fortunately, okay, because we're looking at, you may have to approve $7.7 million. It's not gonna, it's not automatically gonna be the same percentages. It's undetermined?
I think it's undetermined. The number one factor to think about is the fact if they haven't spent the money and filed the request for payment by June the 1st, the county pays 100% of it. Okay,
Can you say that one more time?
sure. The deadline for completing the work and filing the request for payment is June 1st.
Oh, June 30th. So the FEMA grant ended June 30th.
I don't.
Okay.
How about June?
Okay,
And turtle season starts May 1st.
so it's a moot point, really. So,
Turtle season doesn't stop it, but it precludes them from driving more than 6 miles an hour and not starting until they've inspected the beach for night crawls. And they can't disturb more than 100 feet at a time. It's like wearing handcuffs, but
so a June deadline to apply for what?
refund.
The county.
The county would apply to FEMA for a refund. Now, it's certainly possible between now and then that the FEMA might agree to give them until April of 2024, which is what the county has asked for. It's what we encouraged them to do.
A
So
refund
the-
of what?
Huh?
A refund of what?
The county's gonna sign a contract for $7.8 million and hope they get it done and the refund put in place in time to get 75% from FEMA. If they don't, the county is stuck with it.
Okay, so, right, so, if it was a $4 million project like originally considered, they'd still be applying for the refund. They're going to be applying for FEMA's contribution
Yeah,
regardless.
we know what they budgeted is a little over $4 million, 75%
Right,
of that. Yes,
thank you.
yeah. So, and a quandary next Tuesday for the commission will be, do I approve signing a contract when it's not clear to me how long it will be before the permit from the state is even authorized, because it doesn't get approved until next Friday, assuming nobody opposes it. If someone opposes it, it might last another month or two before they get their permit. And I've already told you, even with the existing permit, they can't start for at least 30 days from today. And they haven't filed the drawings, they haven't hired the bird inspectors, the turtle inspectors, the turbidity inspectors. And there's a lot of milestones to go. I personally would tell the contract, thanks for your bid. I think I'm gonna wait until this clears up just a little bit more, as opposed to having a cancellation payment. But, you know, that's why we hire the 5 commissioners who are smart.
Do you consider this a gouge on the part of the two bids?
No, the price of diesel fuel's doubled. And this price is very similar to what Fort Myers Beach just got through paying. They paid $8 million for a similar amount of sand. So I don't think it's a gouge. I mean, maybe you want to blame the Russians for the price of diesel fuel, or God for the hurricane that has chewed up a lot of the trucks. But no, it's not a gouge. It's, would I sign a contract to do if I were a trucking company? No, I'm not sure I can get that many trucks down there. So we'll see. But
Did FEMA ever give any specific reason other than they want to get this grant off their books? And I know we're the last community to take advantage of it.
that's what they said. They said, you're the last one on our books from 2016. Get it done.
That said, wasn't this speculated to be almost like a 2025-26 project originally?
Yes.
They were bracing for that. All of a sudden they changed their mind to get that, but in my thinking, 1 year, with all these variables, so be it.
Well, I think I've always speculated that, and it's just that the county had to go through all the steps they've been doing to get the permit, get the bids, and then they need to go back to FEMA and say, it's just not working. You know, give us another year. We tried our best. We don't get a decent bid. Price of diesel fuel is too high. It's at the wrong time of the year. We need to do it in the fall. All those kind of things we've been talking to the project engineer about. I mean, we're not dumb, but they've been in handcuffs too. I feel bad for them. But I'm not gonna forgive them if when they put 4,600 trucks down Midnight Pass next month, because it's gonna be a mess. I tried to drive down Midnight Pass today, and they were replacing sidewalks, and Frontier had Midnight Pass at Stickney Point closed with a truck. And it was backed all the way up to the beach. You couldn't get either way up and down Midnight Pass. God forbid if it was a ambulance trying to go up and down there. All right,
Hey, Bob, you and I did some analysis of how many trucks per hour, for example, would be involved here. You want to just let people know what we're really talking about. Trucks per hour to meet this goal.
Yeah, and an hour.
Assuming, yes,
And your question?
yeah, how many trucks an hour do they?
I don't know how long they have. I really don't. 10 an hour, 20 an hour, if you have to get it done in 1 month. Bill?
One big comment, and anybody out there that might want to stop this permitting or whatever. We you know, have a place down there and all that. Just to let you know, that beach is not in critical condition
Absolutely.
right now.
No.
Turtle Beach or the condos around it, we have beach. And it can last another year, just like it is right now. So it was critical. I might not take
Yeah.
that line of.
No, I appreciate your perspective. I tend to agree with it.
So whoever might be in mind to. Some of the sense, make sense out of this whole thing. I would love for someone, I would give someone 10-1 odds. That this thing ain't even gonna happen. And I will. So if you know anybody can take my bet on that too.
Not me.
And it's
Thank you, Bill.
property owner
As a
that's
property
been-
owner, that's, yeah, and we're not trying to. One of the nice things about this, thanks to the county, is that they want to spend tourist tax and FEMA money and not assess 20% of it to the homeowners down there. That's the right thing. This is a hurricane recovery. And so, but thanks for your perspective. Anybody else? All right, thanks, Gene.